Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Why didn't Emu stop Shanks from giving the Sun God's fruit to Luffy? I'm going to reveal all of that to you today. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, Shanks, the enigmatic redhead, that guy who always seems to know more than he lets on handing, the Gomu no Mi, which we now know is actually the legendary Hito no Mi model Nika, the sun god's fruit, to the kid Luffy back in Fuchsia Village, and the great shadowy villain, Emu, sitting on the empty throne controlling the entire world from behind the scenes, does nothing to stop it, like zero intervention? That smells like a deep plot, right? Based on what Oda has already drawn in recent chapters, especially in arcs like Wano and Egghead, where revelations about devil fruits and Joy Boy keep popping up, it's reasonable to assume that Shanks has a complicated connection to the dark side of the world government. Remember, Shanks isn't just any Yonko, he has ties to the Gorosei, those bald old men who really run the show. In chapter 907, for example, Shanks appears in the Gorosei's chamber during the reverie, talking about a certain pirate, probably Luffy or Blackbeard, and they receive him like an old acquaintance, not a mortal enemy. That suggests Shanks may have been, at some point, a piece on Emu's chessboard. Maybe an early operative, but not one with absolute trust. Why? Well, his past with Roger, the Pirate King, weighs like an anchor. Roger was the world government's biggest thorn, the man who reached Laugh Tale and laughed at the truth of the world. Shanks, as an apprentice on Roger's ship, absorbed that rebellious spirit. He lived as a true pirate, sailing wild seas, facing storms and sea monsters. That makes him suspicious in Emu's eyes. Emu seems to value blind loyalty and total control, as seen with the celestial dragons and their slaves. Emu, that mysterious entity who destroys islands with the snap of a finger, or rather, with the mother flame, as revealed in Egghead, would never fully trust someone who reeks of pirate freedom. So maybe Shanks started out as an infiltrator or something similar, but he never climbed the hierarchy to become an elite God's Knight, the kind that fanatically guard Maria Joie. The God's Knights introduced during the Reverie arc are like supreme guardians led by Figureland Garlic, who is now one of the Gorosei. Shanks, with a possible heritage tied to the Figureland family, fans theorize he's related based on visual hints and names, could have aimed high but chose to remain in the shadows, avoiding promotions that would put him directly under Emu's radar. So why didn't Emu stop him? Simple. Without full trust, Emu doesn't have access to Shanks' thoughts or intentions. In the manga, Emu shows absurd powers, like turning people into monsters, or possibly reading minds, nothing explicit, but control over the Gorosei and the celestial dragons suggests deep surveillance, maybe through supreme haki or ancient technology. But Shanks, a master of conqueror's haki, as shown at Marineford when he stops the entire war with a single look, could block that. He lives slowly, like wine aging, sailing without hurry, building subtle alliances like with the giants of Elbaf, something Oda is clearly cooking up for a future arc. That slowness prevents Emu from elevating him to a high rank, where Emu might be able to implant some form of control, like the celestial dragon's bubbles, or something even worse. And then there's the Lost Arm. In Chapter 1, Shanks sacrifices his arm to the Lord of the Coast, a Sea King, to save Luffy. But what if that was calculated? Based on what we've seen about devil fruits and ancient markings, like those tied to Joy Boy, maybe Shanks had a mark from Emu on that arm, a seal that would allow future control, similar to Vegapunk's chips or demonic contracts tied to devil fruits. By letting the monster take it, Shanks gets rid of that mark, betting on the next generation of Luffy, the boy with the straw hat who inherits Roger's dream. That lines up with the Egghead revelations. The Nika fruit chooses its user, awakening in Luffy as Gear 5th, laughing and liberating. Emu, obsessed with erasing Joy Boy ever since the Void Century, didn't sense Shanks' move because the redhead played it quietly without drawing attention. Let's go deeper. Shanks knows about the Will of D, that cursed initial, since his days with Roger. In chapter 576, Buggy mentions how Shanks refused to go to Laugh Tale for his own reasons, maybe to protect certain secrets. Emu, ruling for 800 years, hunts the D. Planned like a plague, but Shanks possibly a hidden D, or at least an ally maneuvers in the shadows. He gives the fruit to Luffy not by accident. The bandit stealing it in Fuchsia Village feels way too convenient. Shanks tests Luffy, sees the potential, and boom, the fruit ends up with him. Emu doesn't intervene, because Shanks isn't monitored 24/7. He's a lone wolf, not a guard dog. Think about the God's Knights. They have direct access to Emu, like Garling striking Saturn in Egghead. If Shanks had become one of them, Emu could read his mind like an open book and discover the betrayal. But Shanks avoids that, living as a pirate, collecting allies like Mihawk and Beckman, building a subtle empire. The arm, a poetic sacrifice. The Sea King devours it, and with it, any trace of Imu's control. In the manga, Sea Kings are ancient beasts tied to the sea that rejects devil fruits. Maybe the monster neutralizes the mark, like a natural antidote. Luffy eats the fruit, becomes rubber, and the rest is history from East Blue to Laugh Tale, on the path to the One Piece. Imu, focused on places like Lelucia and other islands, misses the timing. Will Shanks reveal all this in a future chapter? Imagine the confrontation. Shanks facing Luffy, telling him everything. Kid, I bet on you because Imu couldn't see my cards. Fun to imagine, right? No fluff, just manga facts mixed with logical speculation. Let's keep going. Shanks' haki is the key. In Film Red, which Oda supervised, Shanks uses haki to dominate minds. Maybe he can block Imu outright. In canon, at Marineford, he stops Akainu midair. Imu, with shadow-like powers as seen when destroying Lelucia, depends on loyalty. Shanks, with his pirate past, never gives that. He chooses to live slowly, years in Fuchsia, waiting for Luffy to grow. He doesn't chase quick treasure, unlike Blackbeard. That patience fools Imu, who sees Shanks as harmless. The Sun Fruit, guarded by the Gorosei, as seen in Egghead, where Saturn reveals its true name. Did Shanks steal it? In chapter 434, Shanks argues with Whitebeard about Ace, but indirectly, it's also about devil fruits. Suppose Shanks took it earlier, already knowing its true power. He gives it to Luffy, and Imu doesn't sense it because Shanks isn't high rank. The God's Knights have privileges. Immortality, mental control. Garling seems eternal. Shanks refuses that path, choosing freedom instead. The arm with the mark, a theory based on celestial dragon tattoos or slave brands. The Sea King devours it, and Shanks is free. Luffy, now Joy Boy, laughs in the face of danger. This could all unfold in Elbaf, where Shanks is present. Oda loves twists. Shanks is a villain? No, he's a dark ally. He reveals it plainly. Imu didn't stop me because I was invisible to his eyes. What a delicious theory. Let's go deeper. Did Roger hand Shanks over to the government? No, but Shanks was found as a baby in God Valley, chapter 1096. The God Valley incident, Roger and Garp versus Rocks with celestial dragons involved. Baby Shanks in a treasure chest, possibly a Figureland heir. Garling, champion of the tournament his father? Suppose Imu recruits him young, but Roger takes him instead, teaching him piracy. Shanks returns later, but never fully trusted. Imu uses him as a spy, but without full access. Shanks betrays slowly, handing over the fruit. Imu, busy with Vegapunk and ancient weapons, ignores it. In Egghead, the Gorosei hunt Luffy, but it's already too late. Somewhere out there, Shanks smiles. The arm is symbolic, like Roger turning himself in. The monster devours the mark, maybe a Poseidon seal or something even older. The seas protect true pirates. Luffy, with the fruit, awakens Nika. Imu is furious, but Shanks has already won. A future revelation. A flashback of Shanks explaining everything. I lived slowly so I wouldn't draw attention. No rush like a calm sea before the storm. This fits perfectly with the theme of legacy. Roger to Shanks, Shanks to Luffy. Imu, eternal, cannot understand generational change. Shanks bets on the new era, losing an arm to prove it. The Sea King, guardian of East Blue, carries the secret to the depths. It's fun to imagine Imu finding out too late, that red-haired man fooled me. Oda is a master of long-term buildup. Now, let's speed up the ship and dive into what might happen when Shanks finally opens up about this entire move against Imu. Imagine the inevitable confrontation. Luffy, fully realized as Joy Boy, Gear 5th blazing like a mad sun, facing the redhead in Elbaf, or even on the road to Laugh Tale. Shanks stops, smirks, and says, "Kid, do you really think it was luck that I gave you that fruit? Imu was watching me, but never closely enough to catch the bluff." He explains it calmly, like telling a bar story. Since God Valley, when he was a baby in a treasure chest, Imu had already marked him as a possible tool. The Figurelands are noble, Blood Garling is living proof, rising to the Gorosei with a star on his forehead. Shanks, a potential heir, could have become a top-tier God's Knight, but Roger stole him away to the sea, filling his head with freedom, dreams, and laughter. When Shanks returned to the world as an adult, the government accepted him back. His meeting with the Gorosei during the reverie proves that, but always with suspicion. That one smells like Roger, Imu must have thought, sitting in the darkness of the castle. That's why they never gave him full access. No absolute trust. No deep mark that would allow mind reading or full possession of the body, like they might use on the most loyal knights. Shanks knew this and played it smart. He lived slowly, without obvious ambition, never asking for high office in Marquis Joie. He stayed a Yonko, balancing territories, never directly threatening the throne. Imu, busy hunting the D. Clan, controlling Vegapunk, and erasing rebellious islands, kept the redhead in her peripheral vision. Then came the master bet, the arm. It wasn't just about saving Luffy from the Sea King. That limb carried the initial seal of loyalty, a hidden tattoo or ancient implant that, with time and higher rank, would activate total control. By sacrificing it to the sea monster, a creature that hates everything artificial, including devil fruit, Shanks destroyed the bridge. The sea swallowed the evidence and erased the trail. Free at last, he could hand over the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika without any alarm going off in Pangaea. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.